Well, hello, Facebook and YouTube family. Greetings. I bring you greetings from Daytona Beach. Um, Come to really like this area, and wife and I have spent some time here, and we really like the area. So I'm broadcasting from Daytona Beach. I want to talk to you again. For those of you that do not know me, I'm Dr. Leon McCrae. I want to talk to you about real estate, of course. But more specifically, I've been doing this over 20 years, and as a real estate investor, I've not only been a real estate investor 20 years, I've had 12, 14 years as a commercial real estate agent, but I've been managing my own stuff for over 20 years, and I'm still managing my own stuff. Um, got over, several. Let's not go there. Let's just say it this way. I want to talk to you about real estate, and I want to talk to you about exit strategies. Exit, exit strategies. When you're buying real estate, particularly investment grade or income producing properties or investment real estate, you want to look at what is your exit strategy regarding this purchase, because in real estate, things happen. Good things happen, and some things that might not be so good can happen as well. So you want to make sure you have multiple exit strategies already thought out. And so last time I talked to you about real estate, I talked to you about a church that I purchased in Tampa, Florida. And I want to talk to you about that a little bit again, okay? Reason I like that property is because I grew up in that area, Carver City, Lincoln Garden area. Who um, growing up in Tampa was excellence. Grew up in a all black neighborhood of homeowners. Okay, and it was a wonderful experience. And then Carver City is Jefferson High School, and this property is within a stone's throw of that, a few blocks from Jefferson High School, where I graduated from. And it's nice to be able to go away, okay, for many many years, and now be able to come back to the neighborhood that I grew up in, and be able to own some property because it's very strategically located, great access. I know in the 50s and 60s, you know, when my mom and dad purchased the property, it was in the boonies, okay? And who would know years later that it would be so strategically located? I'm talking about the airport very close by, some of the best malls in the area. The International Mall is right down the street. West Shore Plaza Mall right down the street. All kind of shopping. Tampa Stadium right down the street. The interstate is right there. I mean, it's just so strategically located. So I was able. I looked at this. I was on vacation, and one of the things that I wanted to do, I was looking for property. Okay, and sometimes let me just say this: whether you're a real estate investor or whatever the situation is, as a believer, I believe you need more than just the technical skills of being an investor, whether you're talking about real estate or stocks and bonds or any of that kind of stuff. I believe this, and this is my thought. God says if you acknowledge Him, that He will direct your path. And so I am always in a position where I'm acknowledging God when I'm looking for real estate. I believe that that's a key component in my success. Okay. And so when I'm driving down the road, I'm asking the Lord to show me what He wants me to see, even that which others cannot see. Okay. I'm a prime believer that God can show you, and He wants to show His children things, His kingdom sons, His kingdom daughters, things that others cannot see. Okay, in this particular property, it was an old church, been a church forever. Okay, and investors all over Florida looking for properties, looking for good deals and so forth. But I believe that this was a hidden jewel that was hidden just for me. And this property had been for sale, off and on for, I think, a couple years. Okay. And the property kept, the value kept dropping and dropping and dropping. The people the church that was in there wanted to sell the property. Okay. And so I was not looking for a church, even though I'm a pastor. I was not looking for a church, but I'm an investor. Okay. And so I was looking for a house. I was looking for something that maybe I could buy that was either undervalued, or I could buy something and fix it up, or just looking for a good deal. Even a primary resident, because my desire is to move back to Florida, okay, where I grew up at. Okay, and so I was looking for a house. But then all of a sudden I believe the Lord showed me that property. He said, check it out. And so, okay, there was a real estate sign on the property, and I called the agent. I got out, took a look at the property. And now mind you, this property had been on the market for, well over a year, had not sold, okay? Now, think about this. Church, seating for some 70 plus were able to be seated in that church. But the lot in which it was on is very small, and they only had about 3 parking places. Now think about a church that can seat 70 or so people that only had 3 parking spaces. A lot of churches would not be interested in that type of property. Okay, and for me, I really wasn't interested. I see the dynamics there, and you would want something with more parking, okay? But remind you this, that church had been there for 50, 60 years, okay? And so the community knew it as a church. It's been a church, even though there were only 3 parking places. They knew that on Sunday and Wednesday when they had services, that people parked on the street, and they were used to that, and they were okay with that, okay? So I knew that it had that going for it, okay? And so, okay, that's one option. But as I did some research and started digging, I find out that the property is not zoned for a business or a church per se, even though it's grandfathered for that use, okay? I find out that the property is zoned residential. Key. Bing, 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 bing. And so when I talk about exit strategies, I'm looking for something that gives me a key advantage, okay? Or it gives me something that, okay, if I cannot, because I was not ready to move to Florida, so I knew that there would be a time where I would have to rent out the property. And then later on when I came to Tampa, then maybe I could use it as a church or so forth, or a business or whatever the situation is. And so those would be my exit strategies. I could rent it out as a church. I could maybe use it as a rental for another business that didn't need a lot of parking, if that would be allowed. Okay. But the fact that it was zoned residential, I had that in the back of my head. I said, wait a minute now. When you come to Tampa, you're going to have a home. So one of the exit strategies for me, I said, well, okay, it's already zoned residential. This could be converted, if necessary. It could be converted to a house. Okay. All right. Okay. So I like to have 2, 3, even 4 exit strategies. Okay. And so another exit strategy, when I talked to the church that owned the property, I found out that they were interested in selling. They had been interested for a while, that they had not found a property and they wanted to rent back. Okay, another exit strategy. Okay, so now the church that I'm buying it from, I see that they would like to rent the property back from the new buyer. That is key for me because I was not ready to come. Okay, so that's key. And there, to be honest with you, there are not a lot of institutions out there that were ready are ready to finance a black church. Let's just be real, okay? And so it was key for me to be able to get financing. And so I talked to the pastor about doing some owner financing. I would put some money down, okay? And I'd ask them to do 5 years owner financing, and then we'll do a balloon payment at the end of that time. And we settled, they were not interested in that because they wanted to buy another property, but we settled on 3 years of owner financing with a balloon at the end of that time. So that gave me, in terms of exit strategies, that gave me, for 3 years to be able to make some moves and do the kind of things that I needed to do. Now, when you're talking about opportunities, when you're talking about exit strategies, when you're talking about making moves and being able to see what others cannot see, God's showing you. God says that if you acknowledge me, I'll direct your path. Okay. And so I'm looking at that and I say, okay, I like this. I like this. So I put it on the contract and we agreed to those terms. We agreed to a price. It would be 3 years on the financing with a balloon at the end of that time. They would rent back from me, and it was interest only financing, which means my payment will go be low. Okay, another key. Now, when you are buying properties, when I buy properties, okay, I am always looking at what's the cash flow. I'm not looking to buy a property that I got to come out of my pocket to pay for. I want the property to pay for itself. Okay, and I encourage you to do the same thing. Okay, because it's key that everything is self-sufficient, that it takes care of itself. And so I'm looking for income-producing property that takes care of its own expenses as well as pay the mortgage for my properties. Okay, and this fit that bill. Okay, and so now I got it on the contract. I've closed on the property, and now the church is renting it back from me. I'm paying them the mortgage payment. They're paying me the rent, which was basically about twice as the rent is about twice as much as the mortgage payment. And so I'm giving them money and they're giving me money, okay? Which is a good thing, always a good thing when the amount of money that I'm giving them is quite less than the amount of money that they're giving me, okay? And so I like that. And so I was able, they wanted to rent a year. And I thought they would be there longer, but for a year, this took place. And so at the end of the year, they were ready to move out, okay? Couldn't get them to stay. I really wanted them to stay because I wasn't ready to come to Florida, all right? So I put an ad on Craigslist, I put it in the paper, those kind of things, and I started advertising it. Well, before they could move out, I already had another church wanting to rent the property, all right? So as one was leaving, the other one was entering the property with no interruption. Okay, and the church that was there, they kept the place looking good and everything. So when the new church came in, they came in and want to make improvements. Is it okay, Pastor McCray? Is it okay if we paint the inside and would it be okay if we paint the outside? Let me think for a minute. Okay, you want to paint the inside. Okay, you want to paint the outside. Yes, okay. You go right on ahead and do that. Make sure you painted a neutral color. Okay, all right. They did that. And they wanted to clean all of the pews. Since I bought the church, I bought all of the pews, all the furniture, all that stuff was included in the sale. All the the pulpit chairs and so forth, okay? And so they wanted to clean everything up. Fine, no problem. Take care of your people, So they did that. All right. And so they rented to a year contract. And guess what? The pandemic hit about midway through that time period. And what did they do? Just like a lot of other churches, a lot of churches could not make it. A lot of churches closed. They stopped having services and so forth. And they could not continue to make the payment. And they asked me, would I release them from their lease? Okay, I understand. If I was in their situation, I probably asked to be released as well. So I let them be released from the contract, from the lease. Okay. Now, exit strategies. What am I going to do now? I'm in the midst of a pandemic. I got a mortgage payment. And I have a tenant that's leaving, meaning no income now would be coming on their property. Okay. All right. What am I going to do? Okay. Well, I could put it out there again and see if I could get another church. I'm in the midst of a pandemic. All right. Same thing could happen. Okay. And so what I was also looking at, well, it might be an opportune time to really look into converting this property to a house. Okay. Remember, that was one of my exit strategies. Okay. And so what happened was I got owner financing. Okay. It was already zoned for a residential. Gentrification was taking place in the neighborhood. Okay. Which is a good thing, bringing property values up. And I was, we as a people cannot just look at gentrification and say what happened. Why are these people coming in? We have to take advantage because God is positioning us, okay, to take advantage of the situation. And we need to be the ones purchasing the property as it gentrifies, okay? And so things were definitely changing, okay? Anytime you come into all black neighborhood, now all of a sudden you're seeing white folks walking their dogs and stuff, you know how things is changing. And that's what you see in the neighborhood. So gentrification, mind you, they like the fact that here's the airport, not far down the road. They like the fact that here you got the International Mall, one of the best malls in all of Tampa, the West Shore Plaza Mall. They got the stadium right down the street. You got all these things going on. You got the schools, in the area, all of that. Shopping, you got all of those things that's going on. The interstate is right there. You jump on the interstate, go in the direction you want to go in. St. Peter's right there, Clearwater Beach, 20 minutes away. You got, the Tampa Beach. You got all those things that are there for you. And other communities are looking. And we got to take advantage of that. All right, so I go into the process of making that a home, okay? Only because I had enough insight, because God gave me enough insight that I could see what others could not see. Because others looked at the property. Others talked to the pastor. They talked to the real estate agent, and they couldn't figure out a way to make it work. Or they could not see what I saw. I'm telling you this. It's more than the technical aspects of real estate. For believers, particularly believers that look like me, it's critical that you see beyond that which you can see in the natural and allow God to allow you to see what He sees. So when you see what He sees, then you can get in the very nuances to find out, okay, so you're saying if I do it this way, this is coming down the road, this is going to benefit you. Why? Because God wants us to be in a position to advance His kingdom. Okay. I'm a kingdom giver. Okay. God wants me to be in a position to advance his kingdom. I'm giving out free information. In case you didn't know, I'm doing videos all the time, absolutely free. But if you listen to them, I'm giving you some key information, critical information that if you use this information, it's more tools in your toolbox. I give out tools to use, tools in your toolbox. Those things, you might not use this information that I'm talking about right now, but it may be 5 years from now that you use this information. And you remember, wait a minute, I remember that real handsome guy with the hat on, he said that, if I'm able to see what others cannot see, some of the zoning issues, what are the different aspects? What makes this property that? What are my different exit strategies? Okay. This property is used as a church or used for a business, but it's zoned residential. I got all these different options. I can move this way. I can move this way. God will give you those type of tools to use so you can bless your family and so you can be in a position to bless somebody else. Okay? And so it does more than that. A lot of people like myself, I left home at 17 years. I wasn't even 18 years old. Graduated from high school. Boom, I was going off to the Air Force. Okay? Traveled all over the world. But Tampa's my home. I want to come back to Tampa. Okay? Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Super Bowl champion. Just wanted to lay that in. We got a lot going on in Tampa. Do you know Tampa now is one of the top 5 cities that people are moving to? Things are happening here. Okay? And so if you live in Lincoln Garden, Carver City, West Tampa, you need to buy some property. Think about it. Put yourself in a position and ask God to show you what he wants you to see, even that which others cannot see. Ask God to allow you to hear what he wants you to hear, what others can't hear. And I'm telling you, you'll be in a position to bless yourself, bless your family, and bless someone else. Bless to be a blessing. Even in a pandemic. I told my church this, that if you stay close to God, hear what he's saying, execute, do what he says to do, that you'll come through this pandemic in a better position than when the pandemic started. I believe that. I believe that. Absolutely. We are the healed of God by every stripe that Jesus bore on the cross, every drop of blood that he shed. I believe that God is doing what he does, protecting his people. I know some is that. I'm not minimizing that. But we're here. And we're here for purpose. And we're here on purpose. Again, this is Dr. Leon McCray. I want to present some exit strategies, even in a pandemic, real estate exit strategies. I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. God bless you. I appreciate you. Love you. You can contact me at leon@leonmccray.com, leon@leonmccray.com. Thank you very much, and go out there and get it done. Get our 40 acres and a mule. Amen. If they don't give it to us, we'll get it ourselves. We're kicking doors in. Let's do it.